Hi family, Stephanie here. I want to welcome you to my channel, and I want to tell the people that are returning that I've waited a considerable amount of time to make this video, and I'm not sure why I have felt this degree of heaviness upon me, but I really want to expose the agenda of these people for what it is. And my concern, shadow banning, is very real. And this is a truth that very much wants to be buried. And so please, I encourage you to watch this and share it and subscribe before it's perhaps taken down or even shadow banned. So we need to make the truth too big to rig, as they say. So if you all like, share, subscribe, it makes it too big for the truth to be submerged. I really want to expose this agenda for what it is, because it is destroying lives. And the ultimate goal is destruction. And you need to understand that the ultimate goal is your destruction. They want to accomplish this by you doing this yourself. And I don't just mean in terms of some fatal action you might take that results in your destruction. I mean destructing spiritually, emotionally, mentally, deteriorating. So I call them the 4Ds, and resulting in the ultimate D, which is destruction. And the first one is to distract you. So the things that are happening in your life are designed to distract you. They are designed to keep you spun around, looking into why you are facing hurdle after hurdle. Why is it that everything you seem to do, you come up against a barrier or a wall or a hurdle, and it seems like others are whizzing through life, just whistling through without a care in the world. But by creating hurdles in your path and putting people in your life to distract you, that keeps you very busy from ultimately discovering your purpose and your connection with God. And you may not be there yet spiritually. I'm going to try very hard in this video to stick with the carnal, although this is a spiritual attack, and you will ultimately discover that once you are not being distracted and you are not spun around looking for causes and for people responsible for this. I understand that it is human nature to want to look for the cause for what is happening to you. My friends, it is spiritual what is happening to you. And I don't mean that people are not used to accomplish this. This is no different than any time in history when the enemy uses people to accomplish his goals. The enemy, demons, if you will, need vessels. They need to have narcissists in your life that help to accomplish this goal in distracting you. The thing that comes together with distraction is dimming. So distracting you and dimming your light. And you may not realize it yet. You may not see your inherent light. You may not see your inherent potential and your abilities. But I promise you, if you look back over your life, there are people that have been placed in your life from very early whose sole purpose is to keep you distracted and to dim what is inherently given to you by God. Again, I'm going to try to stay on the carnal level because I know that's where many of you are who are tuning in to understand more about the targeting you're experiencing. But understand that there has been an all-out assault on your life that is attempting to distract you, to keep you caught up in details, to keep you chasing your tail, to keep you wondering, to keep you questioning, to keep you doubting. That's another big D, is doubt, the self-imposed doubts. The people around you will cause you to doubt yourself, to make yourself smaller to fit in. I know most of you, if you're like me, have been put in situations where you have to make yourself very small to fit in, and that accomplishes the dimming of your light. So just understand that these details, whether it is the street theater that you're experiencing, that's a distraction. This is not going to harm you. Let them play their games. Ignore them. Please ignore them. Just go on about your life. It is a distraction. I know it can be horrifying. I very much know if someone is breaking in your home, tampering with your car, hacking your devices, spreading rumors about you. All of these things are very hurtful, and I am not diminishing that. But these are distractions, my friends, to keep you from getting to the root of the problem and thereby getting to the solution. So we have the distraction and the dimming. And what they aim to do is to destabilize you. This is the third D, destabilize you. And that means everything about your life, my friends. That means your finances. That means your housing. That means your transportation. It could be your insurance rates. It is largely emotional. This is a psychological operation that has been practiced and honed for years. If you're talking on a spiritual level, this has been going on for thousands of years. If you want to talk about where they started with MK Ultra, we're talking about decades old. They know what it takes to destabilize a person emotionally and mentally. And that is exactly what they're seeking to do. So again, if it is the street theater, if it is your property being violated, if it is the betrayal of people, all of this serves to destabilize you emotionally. And I don't mean in the sense that you somehow lose your mind. What I am saying is that your emotions are so wrapped up in what they are doing. They become, your driving emotions become fear, and you're being intimidated and oppressed. But your primary emotions that you're feeling are fear and confusion. And so all of these things, again, will dim your light, they will distract you, and they will destabilize you. And once they have you destabilized emotionally and mentally, you will start making decisions where it is no longer what they are doing to you that is most harmful. It is how you are responding to what is being done to you that is most harmful, because your whole compass is off. You are not operating from the part of your brain that drives rational thought and rational decision, because you, my friends, are now in fight or flight mode, and you are operating from the base, the mammalian part of your brain, which is fighting to survive. So you are making impulsive decisions by now. You don't know up from down, right from left, heads from tails. Where is this infiltration coming from? You certainly don't think it's anyone close to you, especially at first. You believe, I'm sure, most of you are thinking this is a government agency, this is law enforcement, this is a three-letter organization, this is a secret society, and it is yes, 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 and yes, all of the above can operate together. That is why they call it, why one term for it is gang stalking or organized stalking or community harassment, because it is an orchestrated attempt. This is not one person coming against you. And my friends, it is not one agency or one society coming against you. It is people and institutions and organizations that are being used by the enemy to accomplish these things in your life, which again are distractions, dimming your light and destabilizing you, emotionally especially. I do not know a targeted individual who is in the throes of this happening, who is not confused and terrified and seeking to find answers. And that is completely normal. This is not a judgment call. What I am trying to get you to understand is that this goal of destabilization is the very thing that keeps you from making rational, intelligent decisions. You having clarity and discernment and making rational decisions and ultimately connecting with your purpose and your power is what they are trying to keep you from, my friends. So they will do that by ripping the rug out from under your life. They will do that in various ways, and it becomes very predictable. I have interacted with, spoken with thousands, literally thousands of targeted individuals, and the approach is nearly always the same, but they will use whatever you are reacting to. So it is very important, even if you have to fake it, to not react in an emotionally heightened state. That is what they are trying to do. I don't care if it is your landlord, if it is the noise campaign that's going on by your neighbors, and you go blow up on them emotionally. This is what they are seeking to accomplish. So it will go against every fiber in you to maintain control of your emotions, to maintain control and to maintain control over your mental. It requires discipline over your mental capacity so that you are not making emotional decisions, you are not making fear-based decisions, and you are not responding out of anger, fear, or frustration, because that is where the fourth D comes in, and that is to discredit you. And these things all work together to discredit you. I don't know if you're aware of this, and it's something that I didn't really know until many years later. But the more outrageous your experience is, the more outrageous they can make your experience, the more it can be used to discredit you. You do not have to prove this to anyone, not a family member, not law enforcement, not your friends, I'll say, because you will find once you start to gain clarity that many, if not most of the people in your life are there to accomplish one of these four things: to distract you, to dim your light, to destabilize you emotionally, and to discredit you for the ultimate purpose of your destruction. And you will notice that most of this comes from the individual themselves because they give up, they lose hope, they are so traumatized by the things that are happening to them that the individual themselves didn't create the destruction, but ultimately self-destructs. And that, my friends, is the goal. So if they can get you to self-destruct, if they can get you locked in a mental institution, if they can get you locked up physically because you have responded out of anger or emotion, or you have told the wrong person about some extreme circumstance and they decide to put you in a mental hospital, and the next thing you know, you have everyone believing that you have lost your mind. So you have to be on watch for these things, my friends. And I am really laying this out there plain and simple, like A, B, C, D, like they're all D's, but this is the all-out pattern of assault that is happening in your life. And all of these things work together to keep you from your purpose and from clarity and from making rational decisions and from exploring your relationship with God. And you may not be there yet, but every minute you spend trying to hunt down these people, trying to videotape them, please don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not saying that there are not things that you should do to protect yourself. It's not called streaming. Maybe it is called streaming. It was advice given to me many years ago when there was this platform that had just come out. It started with a T, I don't remember. But having cameras in your home. But please understand that, as you probably have already discovered, technology can be hacked. There are times you might have footage of something and it disappears. And so you go to show whoever it is your documentation and it's not there. Excuse me. And you look even worse than you did before. So it is like a maze, a rat race, an orchestrated chaos around you. And it is very intentional. And you have got to keep your wits about you. You have got to keep your wits about you long enough to get clarity, to make rational decisions, and to tap into what the weapon is, the power. Because it feels very much in the moment, because there is so much going on and it is affecting so many areas of your life. It's like, what in the world am I up against? Who are these people? You might have some idea of the narcissist that you came against, that you upset, that kind of kicked off this kind of upping the ante in your life. You may have some knowledge of that, but I ask you to examine just a little bit closer. This has been going on longer than the most recent narcissist. Generally, you will notice, and we're not talking about a mild narcissist, like narcissistic personality disorders. That's not what we're talking about here. Everyone possesses some degree of narcissism. We need it to survive. It is the characteristic that cares about ourselves. But we're still not talking about someone who is self-involved or self-important or grandiose or always wants attention. That's not even what we're talking about here. We are talking about the person that you have come across who is under the influence of darker forces. And I know that is hard to see and hard to accept, but just open your mind a tiny little bit, because once you do and you start exploring that avenue, like, what is wrong with this person? I can't tell you how many times I asked myself, what is wrong with this person? Are they evil? Is it drugs? Is it mental illness? Like, what is it? And you may never get that answer, but what I'm telling you is that it is all darkness. It is all the same darkness. It is all the same root. It is all the same evil. And it exists in organizations. Some secret societies are just evil just by nature. But three-letter organizations, for example, not everyone who works there is evil. The agency itself is not evil. It is people within the agency who are under the influence of darker forces. The same with law enforcement. It is not every law enforcement officer that is evil. And I tell you this as someone whose son was killed, beaten and killed by law enforcement. So please, and has also suffered the same kind of targeting that many of you are experiencing. But what I'm here to tell you is that not everyone in these agencies, not everyone in these organizations is evil. Not everyone is doing the bidding of the enemy. And same with the street level gang stalkers, the same with your family members. Most often you will notice a narcissist, it is brought to your attention in a romantic relationship. Then you will find it in the workplace. Then you will find it in your own family. And it is a gut-wrenching, painful journey to eliminate the people, the behaviors, and to remove yourself from situations that are not in your best interest. And some people who say pretty words to you and who are flattering and may even be your day one, may be the person that you think has been by your side since day one. Don't rule them out. And please, my friends, I operate from a place of love. I operate from a place of peace, and my faith is what sustains me. I am not telling you that everyone is bad or to remove everyone from your life out of fear or suspicion. But what I'm asking you to do is to pay very close attention to everyone around you, because if you are a targeted individual, it could be someone who very much cared about you and who has been by your side and has helped you in times of need. But when you get to this point, most of the people around you, if they haven't been put there by the enemy, they can be used by the enemy. It takes a very strong, committed person devoted to God and to truth who cannot be used by the enemy. Watch how they respond, or the attitude they have towards someone who is in pain or hurting. Ask yourself, when I walk away from conversations with this individual, do I feel more confident and uplifted, or do I always walk away with this uneasy feeling of doubt and more questions than when I walked in? Are they truly working for my best interest? Someone who cheers you in your times of accomplishment and of success. Are they there for that? Are they really lifting you up to be the best version of yourself that you can be? Are they pointing you towards solutions, or are they just completely dismissing your experience? Are they listening to you, or are they labeling you? Are they dismissing you, or are they really internalizing and trying to understand what's happening to you? Because you do have to realize how out there it sounds to someone who has never experienced this, to someone who has never been targeted, for them to accept the things that you are telling them. It is difficult for any individual. But the reality is that the enemy is the ruler of this world, and he will put people in your life, or he will use the people already there to help accomplish these things I just talked about, and I'll reiterate them. They are to distract you, to dim your light, to destabilize you, and to discredit you. If they are engaged in any behaviors that fall into those categories, please, my friends, take another look. And you can move yourself back just a little bit and see how they respond. Sometimes they will use words of flattery, and they will try to reel you back in. If it's a narcissist, it's called hoovering. If it's the kind of narcissist we're talking about, they're not going to change. They are under the influence of darker forces. You have got to understand this above all else. There is no loyalty in Satan, and he does not change. When you dance with the devil doesn't change. He changes you. So be very careful. Just take a little step back and look at it. How gauge inside. Pray about it. If you are being targeted, there is something about you that is very threatening to the enemy. So I have no doubt that somewhere in there, even if you have abandoned your faith, questioned your faith, or stepped away, and I'm not talking about church, I am talking about your faith. I am talking about your personal relationship with God. That is what you are being kept from. And if you are a targeted individual, I promise you, you are a threat to the enemy. And there's a reason for that. You must have a bright light. If you are a targeted individual, I already know that you are someone who is very empathetic. You are kind. You see the best in people. You wear your heart on your sleeve. And it may be in your case just as it was in mine. I very much trusted too easily. My father growing up used to call me naive, used to call me gullible. And I have to say that without God's help, that is my nature. I have to hold every captive thought with God, and I have to examine everyone in my life spiritually with God's help, because through my eyes, I always see, unless it's really glaring evil, I am going to see the shiny surface. I am going to buy into the mask. I have been deceived by it over and over and over until I finally went through this process of being refined by God, where I had been stripped of everything and everyone. Now, there were some people left in my life that I chose to walk away from, but truly material things I had to walk away from or had been taken from me. Relationships, and the most central relationships in my life. My finances had been destroyed. My schooling at the time had been impacted. I mean, there was not a facet of my life that was not demolished. And it took all of that for me to be ground down to my knees, to be calling out to God from the depths of my soul for answers and for help. And God does answer, my friends. He answers. It may not be instantaneously. It is a process. Developing discernment is a process. And learning to be able to think not and to walk not by sight. It says that we walk, we lean not on our own understanding, but it takes a while to develop that intimacy with God to where you can hear clearly the voice of God. And so I just really, really want to lay out for you, just step by step. You are being distracted. Your light is being dimmed. It can't be turned off. The enemy knows this. Your purpose cannot be stopped. It can only be detracted from. You can only kind of get off track. And the goal is to keep you off track. If it's not for a day or a week or a month or a year, ultimately the enemy is hoping it's a lifetime, that you go to sleep and you stay asleep. And I am trying to tell you, my friends, it is time to wake up. It is a lie. You are being manipulated by fear and oppression and anxiety. And fear is a very powerful, it is the easiest way to manipulate someone and to control someone is by fear. It is why you are reacting the way you are. It is the reason that your chest is tight and there is a pit in your stomach. This anxiety and fear, this constant state of fight or flight that you are being kept in, you have got to step back from it. You have got to allow yourself to think and behave rationally. And I only know how to do that with God's help. And if you're not there yet, hopefully you've tried everything else. and you're willing to try this, just cry out to God. Just do it. Just cry out for answers, and you may never know the exact person, place. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about answers, I'm talking about clarity and wisdom and discernment, because before you know it, my friends, because of what you have been through, you will see these narcissists coming a mile away. You will not dismiss red flags anymore, because if you look back on these relationships and you are honest with yourself, there were red flags. You just dismissed them. You thought, oh, no, it's just me. I'm being too sensitive. And maybe they even told you that. You're being overly sensitive. Your thinking gets so far out there. Like, you may have been told these things, but ultimately you tell yourself these things, and you are doing all of the doubting and all of the distracting. You're doing to yourself ultimately. They get the ball rolling, but you keep it going. You can tell someone one time that, in the instance of a child, you can call a child a negative name one time, and it will take you 1,000 times to tell them something of the opposite for them to believe it. We speak I want to say I speak probably much faster than most, but I don't want to misquote the numbers, but let's, for ballpark figures, we speak at like 50, 60. I don't want to misquote this. Let's just say for the sake of the ration, you might think at 1,300 words per minute and speak at 100 words per minute. I think it's more like 50 to 60. But you can tell yourself over and over and over and over and over again these doubtful mistruths that may have been said to you one time, that you repeat to yourself thousands of times, that you don't even realize. And so now you have become your own doubter. You have become your own destabilization, because you're living in this fight or flight fear mode. So, my friends, it's time to wake up and get it together. It doesn't matter if your devices are hacked, if your friends are betraying you, if there is a smear campaign in your community, if there is a street theater going on when you go to Walmart. It just doesn't matter. It matters. Please don't think I'm dismissing you. What I'm saying is, step back from all of it so that you can get alone with God. You can hear the Holy Spirit. You can gain some clarity. Just get in a space where you filter out all of those things so that you can start to overcome this. And what they don't want you to know is that you can overcome this, that there is victory over this. They might as a group be more powerful than you, and they sure cause a lot of damage, but they are not more powerful than God, and they are not more powerful than the protection you have over your life. You have probably, what you are even aware of, that you have escaped in your lifetime, is a fraction of what you have been protected from. The people that betray you were not meant to be in your life to begin with. Jesus was not even accepted in his hometown. So if you have to move, if you have to remove people, if you have to stop a behavior that's allowing entrance of the enemy into your life, then stop it for your own good. This isn't about judgment. It's not about superiority. It's not about being good enough, because none of us are good enough. Grace abounds. Pray for wisdom. But please understand that these things that are coming against you are meant for you to self-destruct. And you can't allow that to happen. You cannot allow yourself to be distracted, to be dimmed, to be destabilized, and don't give them the opportunity to discredit you. If you need to journal to get it out, then do that. If you need to go in your bathroom alone and scream as loud as you can to get out the emotion, do that. Find what works for you. If you need to go for walks, if you need to journal, but I'm telling you that ultimately it will take prayer and reading scripture. And you may not be there yet. Just step away long enough to get some clarity, my friends, so that some of this truth can seep in, because that's what they're trying to subverge. Truth and light and God. And you have that in you, whether you see it or not, whether you realize it or not. Let these things be, let these attempts against you be the thing that makes you call out to God, and you won't be disappointed. You will get answers. Just try it. Try it once, try it twice, keep trying it. You'll get an answer, and you can overcome this. They want you to feel like you're the only one in the world this has happened to, that you are the only one in the world, that no one's going to believe you, and you do need to be careful about who you tell, and that it's impossible to overcome. They want you hopeless, balled up in fear, questioning yourself, doubting yourself. And most of you who come to my channel, that's where you start. And that's okay. But just recognize that's exactly where they want you, is in that corner. And it's a corner that most likely you are painting yourself into now. Not that these things aren't happening. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that your reaction to them, your response to them, is amplifying what they are doing. And yes, it's painful. And it takes perseverance, but you will have resilience like no other humans on the earth. You will have discernment like nobody else on the earth. The person who is able to stand alone in isolation and solitude, is the strongest of individuals. They think it will break you. Don't let it, because it can also have the opposite effect. It can strengthen you and make you an unstoppable force. The person who is not relying on the validation of others. That's why smear campaigns work, because you are caring what other people think. When your reliance is not on what other people think, is not on whether or not someone believes you. Do you know the power and freedom in that? So stop trying to get someone to, I believe you. This community believes you. We know. And you could write 10 paragraphs in the comment section right now, and you would have just as many people who have had the same experience. It's the same pattern. It's the same strategy. And it continues to work because no one is speaking about it. Not in an intelligible way. Not from a perspective of you can overcome this. This prison that you are in is built by fear. Fear meaning false evidence appearing real. Not that it's not happening, meaning that their scope and their power, they're making you believe it is much larger than what it is. Because when it's held up to the light, it crumbles. Just like if you could step out with a megaphone, if you've had a smear campaign come against you, if you had the opportunity to lay out all the facts for people, the entire network of lies would crumble. And eventually this will happen. You will be vindicated. And guess what happens to the people who have told the lies? So they have this posse around them, these flying monkeys. And if they're not completely won over by the enemy, if they're not completely doing the bidding of the enemy, and truth enters just one person, do you know what happens? It's like a domino effect. These people, it fall like dominoes. They talk about egg on their face. When the truth finally emerges, and it will, everything done in darkness comes to light, good and bad. Truth will come to light, and people are waking up. They have powers in numbers. We can have power in numbers. And it doesn't even have to be face to face. It is collective understanding. It is collective faith. It is building one another up. It is not being the people who are causing you doubt and fear and oppression. This is a place, and I know they're listening, just like you do. I know that it's scary. Do you think I don't know they're listening? They comment, they attack. It's okay. My reliance isn't upon their opinion. My protection does not come from anything on this earth. My power, if you will, and I don't mean power in the sense of physical strength, but what has gotten me through the literal attempts on my life, the sabotaging of my finances, of my relationships, of everything. I mean, I could go on and on. My reputation, it is all crumbled. It is all fallen by the wayside. That doesn't come from me. They are fighting something much bigger than me. It is He who is in me who is more powerful than he who is in the world. It is He who is in me that is stronger. And that when you tap into that, that's who they're fighting. But you have to do that. You have to tap into that authority. You have to tap into that. So you've been carried this far. God can take you the rest of the way. He can give you the rest of the insight. I can't do that. I can show you, it's like I can bring you to the water, but I can't make you drink. I can tell you to read scripture. I can't be there to read it for you. I can tell you to pray, but I can't get the results for you. But I'm telling you that's where the answers are. And I'm telling you that what's coming against you crumbles under that authority. And I know this firsthand. I know this from being brought to my knees over and over and over until I was alone and calling out to God and was willing to look at things through spiritual eyes. Even someone as close as my own children, being able to see, to pay attention to God, to get quiet enough to be able to learn how to hear His voice. And it's painful. I mean, there were nights that I sobbed in pain when truth was revealed to me. With much truth comes much sorrow. I promise you, it forces people back into the world, back into accepting the crumbs and the treatment of these people because they're too painful. It's too painful to let go. You cannot grab onto the truth and onto the promises of God while you still are holding on back here. And again, I'm not telling you to let go of everyone and everything. I'm talking even emotionally. You have to grab on with both hands, with your whole heart, with all of your soul. You have to be seeking answers and freedom from this with every bit of you. And you can't do that while you're still hanging on to old behaviors and people and places that aren't in your best interest. I pray for you all every single day. I pray for the person who's out there confused and thinks they're the only one on the planet who's ever gone through this. There are, I don't even know how many, but there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who have gone through this, and you are a threat for whatever reason. And only God knows that answer in your individual case. Only God can give you the answers in your specific situation. But that's where you have to turn, my friends. So just to reiterate, don't be distracted. Don't let them dim your light, because they know they can't extinguish it. So that's why they're working so hard to distract and dim and to destabilize you emotionally. You will get to a point where it is so uncomfortable to feel those kinds of heightened emotions that you will do anything to reground and recenter yourself into a peaceful state. And I can do videos on that. I know how I accomplish it. I don't even like the mild irritation. I used to become irritable when I was in a high stress situation, and I don't like those feelings inside. And I do whatever I can now to maintain this emotional stability. The most passionate thing I feel is about someone like you who's lost and confused and alone. That's where like my emotions rise up in passion for you connecting to truth and to light and re-experiencing who has become drowned out with doubt and distractions. So my friends, just know I pray for you always. I hope you find some truth. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you know someone that's being targeted and you haven't believed them, give them a chance. We have to make the truth too big to rig. And that's why I ask for your help and I ask for your support so that we can spread this message to the people who need to hear it. Because there are many who never hear the message. But victory is at your fingertips. You just have to reach out and grab it with everything you have. I love you all, and I pray for you all. Much love, Stephanie.